It is exactly 2 years since London played host to one of the greatest women's sporting events this country has ever seen. The 2018 Vitality Hockey Women's World Cup saw more than 100,000 fans descend on Lee Valley Hockey and Tennis Centre for 2 weeks of incredible action that saw huge upsets, drama, milestones, and even a thunderstorm that delayed proceedings. In the current situation, how we long for another tournament like that. While we can't recreate it anytime soon, we can use this time to reflect on that incredible tournament with the help of two individuals who were present, very present at the tournament, in Giselle Ansley and Ellie Rayer. So over this episode of Inside the Circle, the podcast, and next week's episode, they'll be joining us to look back on what was a very special 2 weeks. So first of all, guys, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming on. It's pretty much 2 years since that tournament started. Can you believe how quickly the time's gone?
No, it's flown. Although it's weird because it does kind of then seem like actually it was ages ago because there's been so much in between. There's obviously been like another Europeans, there's been the Olympic qualifier, there's been the kind of postponement of the Olympics. So it seems like a lot has happened in that time, but yet it still seems like it wasn't that long ago. It's weird.
I agree with that, definitely.
So when you look back on that tournament now, what are the feelings you have towards it, or what are the things that straight away come into your memory as that happened at the World Cup in London?
So for me, it was definitely the first game running out, and like we trained on the pitch, so we knew that there was this huge stand on the other side that had been put in and stuff, but I don't think that you could quite prepare yourself for going out there and actually just seeing it full of people and the noise. Like I got goosebumps as soon as I ran out, and I was like, whoa, it was almost like being hit by this wall of noise and just an unbelievable atmosphere. And I think that is one of my like main residing memories of that World Cup, was just the incredible support that we had.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like the enormity of it all. As in, like, yeah, we trained at Lee Valley sort of in the run up, and so every time we go back, there'd be like a little bit more added on, and you'd sort of adjust to it and get used to it, and then fill it with people, and it was just like a different level. And like Giselle said, like the noise, the buzz, it was just like, it was mad. And it's not something that I think I'll experience, or I hope I do, but it was just like a different level.
As players, were you sort of aware of the enormity and of the scale of the tournament? Because it was an England hockey event, and England hockey had hosted a few events the years before, but this was taken up another level with the temporary stand increasing capacity by 5,000 and with the fan village and all the things like that. But until the tournament actually started, how aware were you that all of that was happening around you?
I definitely wasn't aware of it. I mean, I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that the World Cup was effectively my first like tournament or first proper matches playing on the pitch at Lee Valley. I don't think I'd played on it before. So I'd obviously been to watch and stuff like that, and I'd definitely watched lots of tournaments before with the girls, sort of before I joined the squad that England hockey had hosted. But yeah, the World Cup, I just assumed it would be like that. A little bit more of a buzz around it maybe, but I did not. The scale, and yeah, it definitely surprised me. And then like we went to a visit in the fan zone, and that was mad. Like that was insane. I thought just ridiculous.
Yeah, the fan zone was epic when we went in there. The effort that had gone into that was really incredible. But I think I'd heard before the World Cup ticket sales had been going well, and obviously the ballot and everything. So I knew that there would be a lot of people there and that there had been a lot of uptake on it. But I don't think I could ever imagine the actual way it would pan out in terms of the way it did turn into this kind of like cauldron of noise. I don't think I could really ever imagine that.
And there was a lot of a lot of activity going on in the build-up as well. We had the likes of Colin Murray, Candice Brown. We had photo shoots, all that sort of thing, like a launch of the new kit at Westfield. How was that for all you guys? Was that enjoyable, or did it almost sort of add to the nerves of everything that, you know, England hockey was making such a big deal out of this?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Having Candice Brown come and bake in my kitchen was just like epic. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, that was really good fun. And the kit launch, I think it finally made hockey feel like it was it was there in people's minds a bit more. You think about like before like a Football World Cup or Rugby World Cup, and those things are just always happen. Do you know what I mean? They even happen in the launch of a new kit regardless, whereas we never get that. So to get this, it was amazing, and I think it really helped to kind of put hockey out there again. And it was an amazing experience. And although I don't think necessarily that personally for me, it didn't add nerves to it, it just made it more exciting. It just made it feel different and of greater importance, but it didn't make me feel nervous before. I just really enjoyed all those things.
Yeah, it's like, obviously we're really lucky that we get to train every day, but actually like doing these things, you don't do them every day. So it sort of like added like gravitas to everything going on, but it didn't, like Giselle said, didn't make it more nerve-wracking because we'd done a kit launch or something like that. It was just, right, I'm really going to enjoy this and soak up everything I can and make the most of it. It was pretty cool.
I know you've
pretty
already
cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. I know you've already touched on I know you've already touched on something there, Giselle, but what were your sort of favourite moments from those sort of build-up events? Because I know that both of you were involved in quite a lot of them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the baking, obviously, because I absolutely love baking. But I've said that a million times before, so that's nothing new. Going to Westfield and the kit reveal, that was something that I never thought in a million years that I'd ever do. It definitely is not kind of something that fully was ever in my comfort zone of something to do, but I actually really enjoyed it, and actually meeting people and people getting their shirts printed with their names and stuff on the back. That never happened. It was just, it was incredible. And we had a really good time in that evening in Westfield, and it's obviously set up like a little play zone, and there was just really nice interaction, and lots of people really made an effort to come there. So I really enjoyed that as well.
Ellie, what about you on that day? Because I think you spent most of your time in those cages sort of helping people out playing hockey, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I don't think I left. I'm not sure if the rotation broke or if I ignored it or if no one replaced me or whatever, but I pretty much stayed upstairs playing hockey the whole time. But I'd say it was really cool. It was like, I laugh because, so we'd been playing some practice matches against Germany at Lee Valley.
Oh yeah.
Before that. So me, Giselle, I think it's Lily and Alex. We all got a taxi in from Bisham, so then that we could get a taxi over to Westfield to then get back to Bisham instead of like having to like ferry cars around and all of this. And I just remember it was the biggest epic. It went so wrong. This taxi driver, bless him, he had no idea the best way to get to Lee Valley on the Monday morning or Sunday or whenever it was. So he took us through the middle of central London. Like, I think we met at Bisham at 9:00. No, 8:30 maybe. So he took us through the middle of central London, like at rush hour. Bearing in mind, we were meant to have like a briefing for a game, at 10, 11 or something. We were basically like an hour and a half late, pretty much jumped out of this van, had to change in the van into kit to play these practice matches. And it was all so that we could get over to sort of like Westfield the next day. So again, we like hopped on the bus, went across through central London from Ali back to the Westfield and Shepherd Bush. And it was just like, I just look back and like think about it, and it was just so funny. Like, it was so much fun, and everything we were doing, there was such a buzz about it. But actually, like when I look back at it now, I'm like, it was mental. Like it was mad. But yeah, it was brilliant. And just like we went to like a studios in Bourne End for the promo video for the World Cup, and it was like we were in our little groups, and then there was like you have your photos done, and I mean that's sort of stuff we've done before, but not to that like scale. And then you went through this next bit, and there was like a dark room, and there was smoke screens, and there was like I don't even know what it was, whether it was glass for people to hit balls at, and it was just mad. Really creative, really cool, and just so different to what you'd normally do and what we'd normally sort of like done and stuff like that. So it did feel like quite special in that sense. So yeah.
I was going to say, did any of you get the chance to hit any balls or smash the glass or anything? Was that either of you two asked to do that?
Sadly not. Wasn't me.
Did you hear what Maddie Hinch was asked to do, but it was never actually shown on the video?
No.
Maddie was asked to run head first through a pane of glass in full goalkeeping kit, but unfortunately it didn't make the final edit, which was a shame.
Why have we not seen this footage?
It exists somewhere.
I'm challenging you to find it and share it with us.
At some point, I'm sure I'll be able to. So then, that whole sort of kit launch and the photo shoot was made around the bespoke kit that you wore, the one-off kit that you wore for that World Cup. Did that add a sense of something a bit more special as well, that you had this brand new one-off kit that you had never worn before and were never going to wear again?
I think it was incredible and it was so cool. But for me, like every time I put on an England shirt or a Great Britain shirt, like you're so proud. And yeah, the design was amazing and it was brilliant. And I look back with fond memories, and I will always have those memories playing in that kit. But just putting on an England shirt in itself, I think, is so special.
I agree. Definitely, every time you get to put on the shirt, it's a real special feeling anyway. But I think for me it definitely added to it, because I think the fact it was bespoke, had a part to play in the design of it, and also it had our values on the tape inside, just made it seem even more special, and the fact that they'd gone to the effort to do something like that for us as well made it feel even more special.
Have you guys got your sort of World Cup kit stored anywhere now, or is it away in storage, or is it sort of up on display somewhere?
Mine's in my kit drawer with my other playing kit. I keep all my playing kit in one drawer, so that's still there. Although, to be honest, I have given away in kind of auctions and stuff a lot of my kit. I don't have much kit left.
How about you, Ellie?
I've got a lot of mine still upstairs. I think it's probably fair to say I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I have given some away, but the kit is really cool, and there's a lot of memories around it. So for me, I've kept a fair amount of it, and yeah, can hand it out if I need to, but at the moment that's one that I've sort of kept aside at the moment.
And throughout the tournament then, the two of you were roommates. How was that experience?
I'm dreading this bit.
No, you're not. We've shared many times before. I remember we shared on Ellie's first trip, where ever. It was South Africa in 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went to Stellenbosch.
Yeah, we went to Stellenbosch, and it was amazing. And she just absolutely had the time of her life sharing with me, I'm sure. No, I'm joking. So we knew we're used to rooming with each other, and I think it's because neither of us nap. We both like to keep busy and keep doing stuff. And so I remember we had a puzzle. We had a world puzzle with animals galore and everything all over it. Ellie also had the biggest bag of games you'll ever see. It travels to every trip that she goes on, and I think it's increasing in size as the trips go on and as time goes on. So I think Ellie's going to be using her entire 23-kilo baggage allowance purely for games by the end of her career. But so we basically just kept ourselves entertained the whole time, didn't we? We also ended up, so every day the cleaners would come in and they did our rooms and stuff. And for some reason, we got given biscuits every single time. Not just 2 biscuits, like 1 each or so. We got given 4 or 8 biscuits a day. But we used to then take them and put them in a drawer. And then the next day they'd bring back more. By the end of the trip, we had 2 full drawers worth of biscuits. And people started to, like, other rooms weren't being given anything. We just had the entire stash. So we would have people visiting our room in the evening being like, any chance of a little biscuit with our cup of tea? We're like, oh, I'm not sure we've got enough here. I don't know how we ended up with it. We're just hoarders. So I think that just links with Ellie's hoarding story of kit. She hoards biscuits as well.
So you never got to the bottom of why the cleaners were so generous with you?
I think we're just friendly faces, maybe. We were always awake. We were never asleep. So, we were always there when they came in, pretty much.
Honestly, it just became a game. It was like, we'd get back from training, it'd be like, have the cleaners been? It'd be like, yes, right, I'm in the drawer. And then see what happened. It's amazing, like, games you'd find to, like, entertain yourself on trips and, like, when you're away and things like that. So we're clearly quite easily entertained. So
yeah, I was going to say, most people will listen to this and be like, they are so sad, getting excited about returning from training to extra biscuits. But yeah, you do. We just found pretty much anything and everything to entertain ourselves, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
You can listen to Inside the Circle, the podcast, on iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, and all other good podcast providers. Was that tournament a bit of a different experience? Because a lot of the time at tournaments you're playing every day or every other day, whereas at the World Cup you had games once every 4 days. Did that make it a little bit different when you were in the hotel together?
We had a lot of time, an awful lot of time around the hotel and together, and it was obviously during that heat wave 2 years ago, and the hotel had the most amazing air conditioning, which was incredible, but it just meant that people would go outside and they'd literally last about 10 minutes and have to come inside. So literally, even like people going for coffees, you couldn't really go out for long because it was so warm, and we were so used to obviously this nice air conditioned hotel. So we spent a lot of time just together and around the hotel and in our meeting room. Like, we had some games nights, bits like that. Had some special guests come in. So yeah, it was really, really cool. But
it was definitely a very different experience. I've never played in a tournament that's had that much time in between games, like you said. And although obviously it allows for plenty of preparation for the next game and recovery, etc., etc. So in that sense, like the hockey side, I guess it's quite ideal. But for when you're not at home, you're eating kind of hotel food all the time, and it is different, and you do have to find, and we were in Canary Wharf, so somewhere we hadn't stayed before, so that kind of gave us somewhere else to kind of go and explore. But at the weekends it just shuts down because like everyone leaves the city for the weekend, so we would go into a place thinking, oh, you can get a coffee here, and it'd be shut. We'd be like, what? And it was definitely a lot more time in between games. But as I said, with Ellie's bag of games and stuff, I know we had Sudoku, we had code words. That's one thing that we've spent a lot of time. Aeroplanes and stuff, we spent a lot of time doing code words. You had a Nintendo Switch, where everything. Ellie's got it all.
Is there like almost like an entertainer or a group of entertainers in the squad as well, that sort of, if you're looking to, I know, spend some time together as a squad and do something, there's always those sorts of people who will provide those fun and games and those laughter, or is it a bit of a done on a rotational basis?
I think there's definitely people who, if you know, like, I want to play cards with someone, you definitely know there's a group of people to go to that are always keen. 100%. I think like the more organised fun and like quizzes and team evenings together, we definitely have a few girls that are really good at those, so they tend to take more of a lead on that, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree. If it's just a random want to play cards or you want to play a game or whatever, there's a definite group that like to do that, and there's some that aren't interested at all because they prefer watching series and stuff, whereas we're terrible at that. We get halfway through one episode and it's like, nah.
Let's play cards instead.
Play deals.
Yeah. What did we play? We played quite a lot of double.
Yeah, lots of double.
A
lot
of deals. Yeah. And some, yeah. We're trying to keep a tally. I don't know if we did at the World Cup. We must have.
I think we must have done.
I don't know who won. Not sure.
And during that World Cup, were you ever tempted to go and watch sort of any other games and soak in the atmosphere of matches that you weren't involved in, or do you guys stay away from that completely?
Well, as a self-renowned hockey badger, I would watch every game of hockey that I could, but we kind of had spoken about it before as a team, and kind of the consensus as a team was that we'd try and stick in our own bubble, and if there were games on TV, which there were obviously, then you could watch them, but it wasn't like broadcasting and talking about other games that had gone on, just so that, you know, some people were just really just staying just on our games, and the next game that we had, they could focus on that. Whereas if you enjoyed or liked to look at other games, etc., then that was fine, but you just kind of did it on your own, or in a smaller group where, you know, a few people did. I think we went to watch. Did we go and watch one game, or did we not? I can't remember actually. But yeah, no, we basically kind of tried to stay focused as a group, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't remember. I'm not sure if we did.
I think it was only towards the end that we went to watch, wasn't it? And
you also, as the Great Britain team that went to Rio did during the 2018 World Cup, England came off social media as well. I guess what sort of the thinking behind that process, and, you know, is it a unanimous decision amongst the squad?
Yeah, we did, and we did it 24 hours before the first game, I think, is what we did. It basically is a way of ensuring, again, this little bubble that you're in, that you're just focusing on yourselves, not what other people are saying about you, good or bad, and you can purely just focus on the performance. There's no other distractions. It's very easy, and obviously with it being very well publicised, and it was in London and on home soil, a big World Cup, etc. Obviously the media attention is greater. You're under a bit more scrutiny, and I think it's very easy for people to see something that could throw them off easily, or likewise, I don't know, someone's getting loads and loads of and heaps of praise, and someone else is not even mentioned. Just loads of things like that, and it's just what's the point in putting yourselves out at any risk of seeing something you don't want to, or whatever, which could potentially harm performance, when ultimately what are we there to do? We're there to perform and to play hockey, and that's what we love doing. So that was the most important thing, was what we felt as a squad.
We'd also obviously we had the Commonwealth a couple of months before, and we'd practiced it out there. So we'd say we came off, I think we didn't do the whole tournament at the Commonwealth, so we came off basically the 24 hours surrounding game day, which actually, because it's bad, but everyone or a lot of people, you get so hooked to just sort of not even think about it, unconsciously going onto your phone and clicking onto an app and just scrolling, not necessarily even doing anything, but just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So actually that was another thing, and probably one of the reasons why I'd always come with a bag full of games and things to entertain, because I found it quite scary actually how much time you could just spend sat on social media, and actually by removing that from your day, you suddenly had so much more time to focus on other things. And like Giselle said, it just wasn't worth having anything that could throw us off in those scenarios. So it was definitely a team decision that sort of there wasn't, I don't think, really any discussion even about it. It was just like, we're going to do this, and everyone agreed.
Yeah, I think also it makes everyone a bit more present and actually there as a team. That's one thing, like Elle said, with the scrolling and stuff, it just becomes a habit, and then you can, I mean, we don't have phones and stuff at meal times anyway, but even if you've got a little bit of dead time and you can just suddenly see everyone goes to, whereas when social media is not a thing, everyone's then talking to each other and having a lovely time.
It's really funny I didn't delete the apps off my phone. I logged out of them and turned all notifications off, but I didn't delete them. I just moved where the app was, like on my home screen. So I swapped like where Instagram would be for like my calculator or something like that. And it was ridiculous how many times subconsciously you go on your phone and I'd look down and I'd be on my calculator because that's where Instagram always was, which was a little bit scary. So yeah.
It was a good thing for us all.
Going back to you mentioned the Commonwealth Games a couple of minutes ago, and sort of leading late 2017 into early 2018. Obviously 2017 you had World League final, I think, in sort of November, December. Then you had the Commonwealth Games in sort of April 2018. When did the Hockey World Cup sort of become like a big thing in the backs of your minds? Was it already a big thing sort of before those tournaments, or was it only after those tournaments that you were then like, right, we're going to focus solely on the World Cup now, sort of thing?
Good question. I think for me, probably, I don't think 2017 was really necessarily at the forefront of my mind. I think as soon as we hit 2018, it was then, yeah, we're building and we're going to build towards the World Cup. And yeah, I think that was definitely sort of at the forefront, but actually knowing that we had such a good opportunity to go out and practice and learn about like a multi-sport event in the Commonwealth Games beforehand. So
I think for me, because I've been in the squad since 2013 and I didn't get selected for the World Cup in 2014, and obviously it only comes around every 4 years. So after the Olympics, the next like big thing was to try and go to a World Cup, and then obviously with it being a home World Cup. So I think for me it had always been in my mind that I was working towards that, and obviously as a team we were working towards that. And the Gold Coast was incredible as well. It was an amazing thing, and I think once we got back from there, definitely it was kind of everyone's mind was focused fully and solely on the World Cup. But I think when you've got when tournaments only come around every 4 years, I think they're always in the back of my mind. Like ultimately, this is what we're going to. This is what we're working to.
And then selection comes about, and you're both selected for your first World Cups. How were you sort of feeling in the days leading up to that, and how did you feel when you found out that you were going to be in the squad? Because obviously selection for any international game must be amazing, but to be selected for a World Cup at home must be, I don't know, indescribable, I guess.
I've got like a diary effectively that at the start of 2018 I challenged myself to write in every day. I've got all around selection and the build up to being selected, and I wrote in it a couple of times about feeling nervous and trying not to think about it. And then actually on the day of selection, I think it was a 5 o'clock email, Giselle and I went for a walk around Marlow. So we'd finished training, or we'd done a gym session or something at Bisham, and we were both like, right, we've got 2 hours to kill. And we literally went from Bisham, parked at the top of Marlow High Street, and went for like an hour and a half walk, literally, to drag out as long as we could, and then hopped in the cars, drove home, and pretty much got home as the email arrived. We distracted ourselves quite well, I'd say.
Yeah, I remember that. Thankfully, it was like a really nice day, so we were walking along the river, and we were just walking and walking and walking. So we managed to chat about pretty much anything and everything, trying to kind of take our minds off it, and it was it worked really well, I thought, because we got back literally, as Elle said, just in time for the email to come out, and then it was like, oh, phew. I think I always get because you get so kind of nervous and worked up beforehand that afterwards the initial thing is just like, like phew kind of thing, and then you get excited after that because you've kind of built yourself up so much to this moment. And I think because like for both of us, we've been on the other side of selection a fair few times, that yeah, I think you kind of the feeling after is always like, oh my gosh, and then you get excited about it. Which seems weird, but
just sort of, I think the nerves, the tummy, like the butterflies sort of like eat you up, and then yeah, like Giselle says, you open that email, and fortunately like we both saw our name on that email, so you're all delighted, but actually obviously we train as a squad and as like a larger squad, and you just know that obviously not everyone can be picked, and I think I'm always really mindful of that when a selection email comes out, having been on both ends of it before, so yeah, it's like the elation, but also you just know how other people are going to be feeling at the same time, and then the buzz sort of hits you, and then just the excitement.
And when you get those emails through, because I know you two spoke there about how you took yourself out for a walk beforehand, but when those emails actually come through, do you like to be sort of by yourself so you can sort of process everything and then go and speak to family or friends, or do you like to have family and friends with you?
I will open it up by myself. Yeah, I'll open it up by myself, and then if I'll go and tell friends and family that, but I say I won't tell them that selection is coming out on that day. So they may have worked it out for themselves, but mum and dad won't know selection's coming out. And yeah, I'll pop up and be like, oh, I've been selected, or oh, I've not been selected, but I don't tell anyone really when selection is. So I'm already nervous enough about it, and I don't want other people to like around me to be nervous, because they know how much it means to me. So obviously they want the best for me, and I don't want them to have the same nervous energy and feelings around it. So I sort of bottle it up and don't tell anyone.
Classic Ellie. I live with obviously three of the guys team, and they normally know when selection is as well for us. So I just open it either. It depends where I am, but I'll open it on my own, and then they'll kind of know by my face which way it's gone, and it's good. They understand it, so yeah. And all of us in my house have had kind of non-selections, injuries that have meant you've missed selection, all that kind of stuff. So I think we're really well versed in how to help each other through those differing emotions, I guess.
And with that, we bring to an end the first of our two-part Inside the Circle the podcast special, looking back at the 2018 Vitality Hockey Women's World Cup. Join Ellie, Giselle and myself once more next Monday for more discussion on the tournament as we look at England's games and their run to the quarterfinals.